money bliss is kind of the two things. I help my clients create a lot more money because I believe that money is a form of love. Money is an amazing resource. It's a resource that we use to create amazing experiences for ourselves.
Welcome to the Mompreneur Life Remix podcast, where you will learn how to remix your mompreneur life so that you can win at work without losing yourself in the process. Hi, my name is Martine Williams, and I am your host and CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. And this podcast is your one-stop shop to creating a burnout-proof life and business and elevating your clarity, confidence, and courage. Friends, it's time to say goodbye to being the yes girl and hello to creating healthy boundaries, healthy mindsets, and healthy habits. Your next breakthrough starts here. This is the Mompreneur Life Remix podcast. Let's do this. Hey friends, happy Thursday. Happy podcast Thursday. Today's Turquoise Talk guest is Hanna Bier, and we are talking today all about money mindsets, money blocks. And I'm so excited for you to hear this conversation. So Hanna works with ambitious women all over the world to recreate their relationship with money in a life-affirming, positive, and loving way. She has woven her diverse skill set into a proven and innovative capacity to allow our clients to transform their relationship with money from the inside out. Can we actually create abundant lives while living a life of joy? And the answer is yes. And that is the work that she does with her clients. She recently published her new book, Wealth from Within, which can be ordered on hannabier.com/book. So I'm just really excited to have this conversation because I know myself and many of you have struggled in this area of money and abundance and our money stories and our money mindsets that we have and how we allow those to self-sabotage our success, but more importantly, our impact. So I really am excited for you to dive into this episode. So let's do this. Welcome back, friends, to the Mompreneur Life Remix podcast. I'm your host and CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer, Martine. And today we have another special Turquoise Talk guest, Hanna. And I'm so excited for her to come on the show today and share her entrepreneurial journey, but also on the topic of wealth and money. And I know this can be a difficult topic for women to discuss. And it's so important because so many of us, including myself, have actually self-sabotaged my success because of money mindsets or my beliefs around money. And so, Hanna, thank you so much for coming on the show. So tell us a little bit about you for those of us that are just getting to know you.
Martine, I'm so excited to be here. My name is Hanna. I'm half German, half American. I live in the south of Germany. I love the sound of music, and that's pretty much what my life looks like. It's all rolling hills and cobblestone streets, and I live in a tiny village, and it's so picturesque. And I'm raising my daughter here. She's in the mud all day long. It's amazing. When I'm not, playing with my daughter or singing on a hill, I help ambitious women heal their relationship with money and live in financial overflow so they can really enjoy their lives. I'm known as the founder of Money Bliss. So if you've heard about me before, it was usually within the context of my program, Money Bliss, that I'm known for. And I also wrote a book called Wealth from Within.
I love that. So tell us a little bit about what is money bliss? Like, let's just start there and just kind of define, since that's kind of what you're known for. Help us understand what that means.
Yeah, money bliss is a new approach with money, which is pretty much the opposite of what we were taught growing up around money. It is a way of relating to money and doing money that always creates more and more and more financial expansion in a really blissful, light-filled, easy, life-affirming, joyful kind of way. And money bliss is kind of the two things. I help my clients create a lot more money because I believe that money is a form of love. Money is an amazing resource. It's a resource that we use to create amazing experiences for ourselves on planet Earth. And then the other aspect is the bliss aspect. I'm an energy healer. Before I was a money healer, my business focus was emotional healing and trauma release. And so I would use my clairvoyance to heal my clients' emotional wounds, emotional baggage, ancestry trauma, and all of that. And then as a result of the emotional healing, my clients were getting all these amazing money wins.
Right.
So that's what I do now. So, but the emotional inner healing of the money blocks is something that's very important. So we do the outer of helping you create, take the steps to always create more and more and more abundance in a way that's profitable and fun and easy and enjoyable. But we also help you heal your relationship with money from the inside out.
Right. Right. That's so interesting. And I know for those that are listening, they are entrepreneurs and they're moms, most of them, which you are. Tell us a little bit about your journey to get there. Like you're known now for Money Bliss, but where did all that start for you?
Yeah, originally I went to school for fashion. I always knew I wanted to be my own boss. I always knew that when I had children that I wanted to be flexible with my time and with my money. And so ever since I was a little girl, like when other girls were dreaming of their weddings, I was dreaming of the mom that I was going to be. And I
Hmm.
knew that I was going to be like extremely successful professionally, but I also knew that I wanted to have the freedom to prioritize what my child needed, to be able to
Hmm.
be home and to be relaxed and really enjoy this time that's so precious and special. And so with that mindset, I thought, well, I can't work a 9 to 5. I have to start my own business. And now it's like, well,
Right.
what am I going to do? It's like, I guess I'll start fashion. Sounds fun. So I went to school for fashion. But as I was in university, I was struggling with CPTSD and extreme anxiety, extreme depression. I couldn't get out of bed. I was feeling so terrible. And I discovered all of these emotional healing techniques, and I really started using. So I've always been clairvoyant, which means that I see energy. So when I look at a
Hmm.
person, I see like colors around them and dark spheres, and I've always been this way, but I didn't really know what to do with it until I started, learning how to clear energy, how to,
Hmm.
shift a person's energy field and clear out the emotional baggage. And that was so amazing for me. I felt so much lighter and clearer and happier and brighter and more energetic and just felt healthy and strong as a
Hmm.
result of doing these clearings that, that's kind of what got me into becoming an entrepreneur. And so, fast forward now that I'm a mom, to me it's my greatest life's accomplishment so far. The
Hmm.
flexibility, the time freedom. I don't care about like fancy houses and like big cars and stuff. Like for me, the fact that I can be a relaxed mom
Mm.
and
Yeah.
I'm working now while my daughter is with the babysitter, and just the time freedom and flexibility
Hmm.
that my mom didn't have when I was little, to me is
Hmm.
like the greatest accomplishment because I can enjoy and savor this time now that she's
Yeah.
little.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. A couple of things that you said that I wanted to point out, especially because when you said it, or I'm sure you were really young when you were first having these thoughts, like you didn't say, I want to be, you said, I know I will be successful. I know I will be able to create this freedom and flexibility. It's almost like it was a confident, like you were already confident before you even knew what you were going to do and how you were going to create that. You had this confident energy, and that makes a big difference when you're, coming through, especially entrepreneurship. There's so many different ways to do business. And a lot of times, I mean, it can be deflating on some days, but I just love that you said that with such conviction and such confidence even before you even started. And I think there's so many mompreneurs who maybe are trying to build a new business or wanting to build a new business. And we're going to get into some of the lies that they believe about money, but it's just not knowing all the details. And you have to just be confident that you're going to accomplish, right? Like that's half the battle, is getting to that confident point. And you already started there. Not that you didn't have bumps in the road, I'm sure, and days where you weren't feeling as confident, but I just really wanted to point that out because people can't see you, but you're super young in entrepreneurship. And I think sometimes we think, I mean, I'm a mom of teenage boys now, and I'm thinking if they had that kind of confidence at that age, to know that I may not know exactly what I want to do, but I know what I want and I know that I'm going to accomplish it. Like that's half the battle in anything, is just having that belief in yourself that you will actually do what you say you're going to do. So kudos to you, because that's awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, to me, it also felt like I had nothing to lose.
Mm.
Growing up, my mom was stressed. Like she needed to go to work. That was always the
Hmm.
reasoning was always, we can't do this because I have to make money, or we can't do this because we don't have the money. So money was always the obstacle. Money was
Yeah.
always the reason why she had to do this or couldn't do that. And I saw how heavy that was weighing on her. Like
Mm.
that's a terrible situation to be in, to constantly need to think, to constantly need to decide between, nurturing your family emotionally and being with the kids and being present and playing, or keeping everybody alive because it takes
Hmm.
money to
Yeah.
sustain a life. And so for me, it just felt like any win would be better than this, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like, I'm gonna like shoot for the stars and figure this out because it really felt like my life depended on it and the
Hmm.
life of my future children depended on it. For anybody listening who also feels like, who maybe feels a little heartbroken listening to this, who maybe feels like, I really wish I had, you know, more of a capacity to be present with my kids when they were younger, or
Hmm.
really hope that I really wish that my business were further along, or really wish that my lifestyle were different, or my timing was different. But honestly, every single win that you create from here on out is going to be so meaningful, even if your kids are
Hmm.
already grown. Like if you can now fulfill your dreams, if you can now become a
Yeah.
healthy, relaxed person, if you can now create a bunch of money, you'll be able to spoil your grandkids. Like it's not too late yet, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. It's never too late. If you read stories of all the successful people, and I can't come bring a name to mind, but the people that we see, right, that we put as a celebrity status, like some of them didn't hit their biggest breakthrough until, in their advanced years. And so I think you're so right. Like, don't stop striving for that just because it hasn't happened yet, or on your timeline, and know that nothing is wasted. You're either getting the result you want or you're getting the lesson that you need. And so let's just have that mindset, moving forward. So let's dive into the biggest lies that women, especially women in business, have been told about money, because this is a hot topic and one that holds people back for sure.
Yeah, so there are so many that really rub me the wrong way, but one that I'm like especially like pissy about today is this idea that you have to kind of heal your relationship with money first, and then more money will show up.
Mm,
Like this idea that, well, I'm so blocked around money, or I have confidence wobbles, or I don't feel confident in my marketing, or, my kids are really young and I'm just freaking exhausted, feel like a train ran me over. I can't even get myself to think straight, let alone take
hmm.
money generating actions. My little one is 3. She started sleeping through the night at 2.5. Like, that's
Right.
the recent experience for me, like the extreme brain fog and feeling like you're a zombie, like thinking,
Hmm.
is it safe for me to drive a car in this state? You
Right.
know, so many of us might feel like, well, yeah, I've got a complicated relationship with money. Yes, I've got some emotional wounds, some emotional baggage. And then the thing that rubs me the wrong way is the thought, well, I have to clear and heal all of this, and only then can more money show up.
Mm, yeah.
And so my point of view is, let's do both at the same time. Let's
Hmm.
set you up with marketing and sales strategies that work. Let's create a lean business, because that's what mostly works for moms. A
Right.
business that is extremely profitable, extremely efficient, that you can run in like an hour or two a day,
Hmm.
if that works for you. Today, like nursery is closed because all the staff were sick. I'm still here
Right.
working. Like
Right.
it's nice
Yeah.
to have a really lean, efficient business. And at the same time, let's also still heal all of your money stuff, because that is
Hmm.
relevant. Many of us really feel it, like it's weighing on us. It's the reason why we're, up at night worrying. It's the reason
Hmm.
why we feel so envious when like friends of us have amazing wins in their businesses. And so all of this like emotional baggage, we can clear it, but let's do it at the same time so that your money increase is starting now, and the dark cloud that you're feeling also begins to lift starting right now. And
Right.
so often I get people coming to work with me, they're like, okay, so it's probably going to take a year until like my money shows up because we have to heal all this first. And I'm like, no, like that is a terrible
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah, it is.
You
Who
can have
wants to do
more.
that?
Let's create you more money
Yeah.
today. How
Yeah.
about we do the two hand in hand?
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of goes hand in hand with the thought of, being ready, right? Ready is a decision. It's not a feeling. And you can absolutely take action without feeling like you're ready, or that you have all the answers or you have all the plans. So same thing with the money. Like, let's work on both at the same time. Let's work on building your confidence while we do things, while we're growing your business, while we're, helping you to heal your money, whatever. But I think that's a really, really good point, because for a lot of people, and I default to this too, when I'm feeling stuck or I'm feeling like I'm not ready, like I default to learning. Because when you default to learning or healing or whatever, that means you don't have to take a lot of action, because action can be scary sometimes, right? And so I think sometimes we just do that. We just default to, well, I'd rather spend 6 months or a year working on healing my money story or healing my money hurts than to actually do things that are going to produce money. So
Okay, I
that's a
feel
good,
seen, Martine. You just called me out there too.
So that's a good call out. So thank you for bringing that up. And I'm sure we could do a whole show just on the other lies also. Hey, friend, can I give you permission today? Like, for real, your own permission slip. Permission to get clear, to cut out the noise, mostly the noise that is going on around in your own mind, in your own head. It's just swirling. And you're asking yourself questions like, why am I stuck? Why am I frustrated? Why am I not making progress on my goals? I want to invite you to a free clarity call with me where we're going to dive in and we're going to identify what are the 3 main issues that are keeping you stuck. Number 2, what are the mindsets around those issues that are actually keeping you from solving for those issues? It's not our skill sets, it's our mindsets that keep us stuck and hold us back. And then number 3, identifying what are your next steps. We all have a next step, and we have 100% responsibility for those next steps. Your only next step right now is to go to the show notes and book your free clarity call so that we can work through this. I'm believing in you, and I cannot wait to see you on our clarity call. Why is money such an uncomfortable subject for many women to talk about?
Yeah, on the surface, it can seem so shallow, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like money. And like I said, it's the big cars and the fancy jewelry and the like rich bitch energy and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
For me, money is an expression of love.
Mm-hmm.
And money, the way money flows in your life today directly correlates with how love flowed between you and your main caregivers, like your parents, when you were little.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say this again. The way money flows in your life today directly correlates with how love flowed between you and mom and dad when you were little, because money is an expression of love.
Mm-hmm.
When you were a tiny babe, you were so helpless, and all of your needs ideally would have been met through your parents. They would have given you love and snuggles and giggles and shelter and food, and they would have taken you by the hand and kept you safe and showed you the world and allowed you to make mistakes and learn how life works. And then as you grow up, money to some extent replaces the love and guidance of your parents, and you're supposed to use money to care for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to use the money to have a wonderful home, to book that trip to go to your best friend's wedding across the country. It takes like money is a way of loving yourselves. But in childhood, we create this capacity for love. It's like you can imagine it as the space inside of your body, and that space determines how safe, right, and good it feels to have love, and love in the form of money. So if as a child it felt like love was quite scarce, where you could never really get as much as you really needed. It was never really enough. Then now that you're grown up, you might also feel like it's never enough. And I have millionaire clients and it's never enough for them. Or there's this real ache inside of like, I can never have my emotional needs met. It's never enough. That's the money wound for many people. For some people, their parents were loving, but it wasn't consistent, where they're on this crazy emotional roller coaster with love, where sometimes mommy and daddy are really attuned and lovely, and sometimes they can be actually quite scary or distant or rejecting. And so for those clients, the money flow as adults is often like this crazy roller coaster where they can receive a lot, but then it's gone. It doesn't really stick around, or they have like phases of drought and phases of overflow, but it's not very dependable or consistent. And then, the other very common scenario is that they receive love as like a condition, where they needed to be really good little boys, really good little girls, perfectly fit into the role that their parents wanted them to fit in as children. So if only I'm perfect, if I do everything right, if I play along with everything, then I'll get love. And then later on, it feels as though we have to make these sacrifices for money, where we have to like be the perfect employee or the perfect business owner or just follow all the freaking steps. and then we'll get love in the form of money. But then it's always like this carrot that's being dangled. And
Mm-hmm.
we never really get to the abundant place where money is safe and overflowing, but also we're constantly betraying ourselves in the pursuit of money. And so for anybody listening, just kind of reflect on your own upbringing, how love flowed between you and mom and dad, and how that relates to how money flows in your life today. And
Mm-hmm.
so to tie this back to your question, you asked, why is money such an emotionally charged topic for so many of us? It's because it goes to the deepest roots of who we are.
Yeah.
Money is an expression of love. And so as we heal your relationship with money, we also heal your emotional wounding around love. And it also happens, you know, in the context of your family of origin. It's an amazing money healing is not shallow. The outcomes might seem like fancy and shallow and cool and like, oh, the numbers on my bank account are like that's
Mm-hmm.
fun. And
Yeah.
that's like really cool. We want the money outcomes for you, but the emotional healing aspect of it is amazing. It's so, so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that correlation. I'm just sitting here like reflecting as I'm listening to you, and I'll definitely be doing that when I get off of here. But some of the money mindsets or just things I hear from my clients are, more money, more problems. Money is bad, or money's going to change me. That was what the recent client, she's like, I've seen people become successful and they didn't do it right, or it changed who they were. They became people she didn't want to be. And so it's like this fear, right? Like they're just trying to protect, like, I don't want more problems. And I don't want, money to change me. And, I've been taught that, having money is bad. So what would you say to those that are listening that maybe have some of those beliefs going on?
I think all of those are so valid and
Mm-hmm.
so wise. And I think that there is a desire in each of them. So the
Mm-hmm.
person who feels as though the person who became wealthy and then wasn't the person that they, wasn't like a great person anymore, I feel like there's a desire here. And so my invitation is you can become like the wealthiest, nice person in your community. You can like
Mm-hmm.
confuse everybody by how generous and loving and open-hearted you are and be freaking rich and for people where they don't even know what to do with you because you don't
Right.
fit into any of the stereotypes. So you could play that game. The
Yeah.
other game to play that some of my clients really love is you can just like your finances are your personal business.
Right.
Nobody has to know. If
Mm-hmm.
we just added like, let's imagine we just add like a zero to your bank account.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a number somewhere in your life that changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're still in the same home, you're still the same person, nothing really changed. So it is safe, right, and good to allow the numbers of your bank balance to change or on your investments, or we're just playing with numbers and you don't have to tell anybody about it. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to buy a bigger car or a house. You don't have to go on any fancy vacations. You get to stay exactly who you are and we can just change the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So for
Mm-hmm.
many of my clients, it feels, there are so many billionaires and they look like nothing. Like when they walk down the
Mm-hmm.
road, they don't have style, they don't look good, but who cares? They just like having
Right.
a lot of money. So more power to them.
Right. Right.
So that's an invitation here. I'm not a big fan of saying of like, debunking people's fears or something, because I always feel
Mm-hmm.
like there's something right on about that. There's a
Mm-hmm.
desire in there that is so valid. If you
Mm-hmm.
value privacy, you can become a rich private person and nobody even
Right.
knows how much money you have. Happened to my best friend.
Yeah.
Her dad passed away, and it turns out he was a multimillionaire. Nobody freaking knew. My friend thought her entire life, like my family are kind of poor. Turns out they're not poor at all. He just
Chose to be
he was just
private.
he
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed playing with money, and then she got this gigantic inheritance seemingly out of nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So if you value being private, your money is your business and you get to have it the way it works for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that because it's almost like coming with a curious spirit instead of judging the thought you have around the money. It's just being curious about why is that thought there? Why is that belief there? And you have the opportunity to change it and see it through a different lens and perspective. So I love that. Curious was the word that came up for me while you were talking. It's just be curious about it. So tell me, why can it seem like the harder we try to get out of the financial hole, the harder it is. Like there's going to be people this new year that that may be a goal of theirs, right? Is to get out of debt or get out of the hole. And as you're doing that, it just sometimes feels like it's never going to end. And it's just harder, it just gets harder. So can you explain a little bit of that?
Yeah. And that's terrifying,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Mm-hmm.
one of the most terrifying places to be in life is to feel like you're in a downward spiral.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you try, the worse it gets. And then you actually get to this point of being so scared to try anything new, so scared to take any action because you're like, am I cursed? Like, what the hell is
Right.
going on? How come, like, it's the whole like when it rains, it pours kind of thing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you're
Mm-hmm.
like, this is freaking terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And I have many clients who start with me from that place, where it gets really bad and they kind of don't have a choice. Like we have to work on their relationship with money. And what I always say to them is you come to this money healing work with decades of emotional baggage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of my clients are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. My oldest clients are in their 80s. This, like your personal baggage of your own life plus your ancestry's baggage, like
Mm-hmm.
that's all the stuff that you're bringing to the session. And
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't take long to clear, but it's a lot to clear. And we are going
Right.
to clear it, but like that's a good chunk of stuff that we need to work through. And so you can imagine the emotional baggage as like dirt on a car. So imagine you're in a car and you want to drive like to the beach, like somewhere beautiful and wonderful, but your car is completely caked in mud because
Mm-hmm.
nobody ever taught you how to clear the
Yeah.
dirt, and now to bring it back to everyday life, like all of us are being taught, you need to shower, brush your teeth, like keep your body clean, like hygiene is important, but we don't do emotional hygiene. Like nobody
Mm.
teaches us to clear
Yeah.
ourselves out on the inside every single day. And so that's the work that I do. It's like taking a really cleansing, energetic shower that washes away the tension and the worries and the fears and the traumas and the places where you're not confident, where you don't trust yourself, where you don't believe that life can work out for you, where you don't believe that it's safe, right, and good to have money. So we wash all of this away. And so when you're sitting in this very dirty car with all of your emotional baggage and you keep driving and you just go faster and faster, like you won't get to the beach because you don't even know where you're going and you're just kind of
Mm-hmm.
driving down the same old roads. And so for anybody who's like trying really hard to get out of the downward spiral, I'm saying clean your car. Like stop driving, clean your car now. Because once you can see and you can see
Yeah.
the road and you can see the signs, you can see how fast you're going, you can make a plan to get there. But this is why the emotional healing aspect of the money work is so important. We need to clear you out. We need to have you take the deepest, most cleansing, refreshing shower so you can see the money making opportunities around you, the different opportunities to create an income, the different opportunities to actually keep your money, to make a
Mm-hmm.
profit, to let your money grow passively overnight. Do we need to add additional income channels? All of the like practical things, like you'll begin to see so much more of what's available once the dirt is gone.
Yeah.
It's such a waste of time and you deserve so much better than
Mm-hmm.
to just keep going in the way that you have been when it's so clearly not working. Because the worst thing that's going to happen over time is that you'll think it's you. You'll think
Mm.
that you're stupid and you're not cut out to be a success and you're too, like, insert your whatever you are. You're too old. You're not interesting
Mm-hmm.
enough. You're
Mm-hmm.
like, whatever, like all the judgments,
Yeah.
and I don't
Yeah.
even want you to get to that place because
Yeah.
that is not it. The reason usually, and like business owners too, like the two reasons why you don't have the money situation reality that you want is one, you're full of emotional baggage that we just need to clear, no
Right.
problem. And two, your marketing and sales aren't strong enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
None of these are about you. I can
Right.
promise you it's not you. You can just do
Mm-hmm.
like an intake right now with yourself, like which is it, emotional baggage, marketing, or both. And you
Right.
fix it and your money increases and you'll laugh with me and Martine, you'll like write emails to us and be like, hallelujah, it was never me,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just like that's my little rant.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's so true because it always does come back to it's not working because of me, or I'm not enough, or what I'm doing is not enough, or I'm not like her, or I'm not doing it like this person is doing. And so it always does come back to me and what's wrong with me. And the inner work that does take time and takes intention, takes discipline to do. It's the biggest work, but it's the best work because, like you said, it allows so much clarity to come. And I'm a visual person. So you were describing the car with the mud on the window. I'm thinking, you're going to crash eventually because you're not seeing where you're going. So you're not going to see the brick wall that's in front of you. And when the brick wall hits, that's when, again, probably even more of that spiral down happens because you're like, I'm not going to do anything now. Instead of taking the time, and this is the work most people don't do, is taking that self-reflection time and doing that inner work so that you can show up with clarity and joy and fulfillment. And like you said earlier, like that confidence you had early on, to go and pursue the things that you now see that you couldn't see before because you were so clouded by all of this mud that's on your windshield. So I know there's a lot of visual people out there. They're like, oh my gosh, this is so clear. Like I'm getting it. I'm getting it. So what are some simple steps that listeners can take right away to kind of shift some of this? So we've talked about what some of the lies are and beliefs they may have, but what are some very simple steps that someone can take as soon as they stop listening today to the podcast?
Yeah, a very extremely simple step is you can grab a copy of my book. It's called Wealth from Within. You can get it on Amazon. Just type in Wealth from Within and order a copy. You can also find it on my website, hannabier.com/book. That's
Okay.
really easy. Just
Yep.
get my book because anytime you'll see it kind of like lying around, it'll be a reminder,
Mm.
to either work on your money or to think abundantly in terms of money. Like even if you don't read it every day, even just its presence in your home is going to serve as a powerful reminder. So that's
Mm-hmm.
like a very easy thing to do. The other thing that I can invite you guys to do is there's a free subliminal on my website, and it's not a regular subliminal. It clears your money baggage. So it clears you out and it replaces it with a really powerful new mindset with money. It's so passive. You can just download it and play it in the background. You can loop it. It's only 4 minutes long, so you can just play it on repeat while you're driving, cooking, cleaning, reading my Wealth from Within book. If you want, you can play it while you're sleeping. And
Mm-hmm.
just like both those resources are designed, with mothers in mind. I know you
Okay.
have no time, so
Right.
you can play with subliminal in the background while your kids are playing, and you can like the book doesn't waste your time either. It's a
Mm-hmm.
very powerful condensed read. So if you're like, oh my God, I remember when I just had my daughter and people were giving me books. And I remember I wanted to thank them. I want to be like, oh, thanks. And they weren't even like these like gigantic novels,
Mm-hmm.
and they're still sitting around somewhere in my home, and I haven't gotten. I really hope my family aren't going to listen to this, but I haven't read a single one of the freaking books
That's
any of you guys gave
hilarious.
me. So when I'm saying like book, just know that you can read my book, even if it's
Yeah.
just like a section a day. It's going to help you tune into a new reality with money and make a very big difference over time.
Yeah, I love that. One day I'll say you'll have some more time. You have a little right now, but don't blink because they'll be 18 and 16 before you know it. And I do lots of reading now, but I do a lot of reading on Audible. So is your book on Audible?
Oh God, people are requesting that all the time. I keep writing it on my to-do list. I haven't recorded my audiobook yet. I've been,
Okay.
we talked about like taking action and not, yeah, you called me out on that earlier. So I'm gonna make a solemn vow. That's gonna be my 2024 thing. I'm gonna record an audiobook. Because
Awesome.
you're not the first
Yes.
person to be like, you need an audiobook.
Yes. Well, you have such a beautiful, calming voice too, that I think aligns with the teaching that you have and your process and everything. So yeah, I'll definitely be looking for that, and I'll hold you accountable to having that Audible version of your book out there. So, if you could leave all of the listeners with just one thing, what would you want all the mompreneurs to know?
I believe that your desires chose you. I believe that desires are like little angels, and they kind of come and they sit on your shoulder and they whisper in your ear. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe that they're like a divine recommendation of how good your life can get. And so if you're kind of trying to talk yourself out of it, if you're like, well, it's not really necessary to make
Mm-hmm.
like 7 figures a year, or I don't need, the Porsche as my family car. Like I don't need I just want to kind of how about you create it and then decide whether you like it. That's kind of like my little challenge. How about you just, go on the adventure and
Mm-hmm.
like create the wonderful business, create the financial overflow, receive the emotional healing benefits and all the other amazing perks that come with it that you currently can't perceive. But like there's amazing like extra things coming when you create the wealth and abundance that is calling you. And then once you have it, how about you decide then whether you like it? Because you can sell the car and burn the business to the ground if you want to, but nobody ever does. So I want you to kind of just think like, those desires and those things that I'm like thinking about late at night, those like feelings in my body of things that would be really, really fun and awesome to create. Just think of them as like little divine messengers of something that your soul is whispering into your ear saying, go down that path, go create this life. It's going to be amazing. Take the recommendation and just go do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Great way to end the show. Well, thank you so much, Hanna, for coming on today. I can't wait to grab a physical copy of your book as well. And I'm sure people are going to be going, and we'll put the links to all of those things for everyone in the show notes for you to grab. But thanks again, Hanna, for coming on the show. This was awesome.
Thanks for having me.
All right, friends. Well, you know that I'm believing in you always, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Well, that's a wrap, friends. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I really hope it met you right where you are and gave you some encouragement for your day. Could you do me the biggest favor and leave me a rating and review? Seriously, it's the best way for you to support the show. And while you're there, be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Thanks again. And until next time, I am believing in you always.